You write a LinkedIn or X post, then you delete it. You start recording a video, you never post it or you stop. You have an idea for content that could change your career, but you never post it. All because of that voice in your head that says, who am I to post this? Who am I to talk about this? Meanwhile, there are people with half of your experience that are building audiences, opportunities in person, and income online. I'm about to show you how you can turn that imposter syndrome into an unfair advantage. Whether you're an employee that wants to be seen as leadership material, an entrepreneur building your first business or brand, or somebody that is climbing the corporate ladder, this is not about a fake it till you make it confidence. This is about authentic leadership and presence and showing up that will create real results. Let me tell you about John, brilliant marketing manager, 8 years of experience. He knows his stuff very well, inside and out. But every time he thought about posting somewhere or creating some type of video content, that voice kicked in. Well, what if my friend sees this? Or what if my boss sees that? What if my colleagues think I'm just trying to show off? What will my family think? What if people realize that I'm not as smart or talented as I think that I am? So he stayed invisible. Meanwhile, his less experienced colleague started posting weekly insights, YouTube videos, YouTube shorts, Instagram reels, TikToks, and he got recruited for a role and also created a personal brand that allowed him to make $40,000 more in the company and build his own personal brand. Same company, same skills. The difference is that person was visible. Today, we're going to fix that for you because your hidden expertise is wanted and needed. First of all, let's talk about imposter syndrome for when you're trying to build an online presence or even a personal brand. Because it's not just about feeling inadequate, it's about feeling inadequate in public. There are 3 reasons that this may hit harder online. The first thing is that it's permanent visibility. When you post something, it stays there. If you say something in person, maybe the people around you hear, but online, it's here to stay. And that permanence can amplify that fear that you may have. It's comparison overload. Every time you open up Instagram, LinkedIn, X, whatever it may be, you see somebody younger, newer, much more followers, more likes, more comments. And when you look at yourself, you start to think, oh, it must be me. I'm the problem. And then you don't do anything. But number 3, and this is the biggest point, expertise visibility paradox. The more you know about a subject, the more you realize what you don't know. So you start to not talk about a topic until you feel that you know everything about the topic, when really that's impossible. And also, meanwhile, somebody else with less expertise and less experience than you that's learned something yesterday, they're literally talking about it today and they're getting likes and they're getting engagement. Now, here is the real problem. That overthinking, that imposter syndrome, it's not keeping you safe like you think it is. It's protecting you from success because visibility, it feels vulnerable. And it is, right? You're getting online, you're sharing, you're talking about topics that you feel that you know about, and it can't be deleted. It can't be erased. And I understand how that feels because I used to do the exact same thing, questioning every single thing that I posted, questioning, should I make this video? Should I talk about this topic? Can I actually teach people on what I know that I know? Even though I don't know everything, can I teach somebody? Can I help somebody? I started to get in these mind traps where I'm just thinking I could do it, then I don't do it, or I record the video, I don't post it, I post it and I delete, I write something out, then I don't send the message. It's so many different traps that I used to get myself into. I literally used to think, who am I to give advice to somebody that may be in a better position than I am? So I continued to stay quiet till I realized that something had to be changed. Your audience doesn't need you to be the most qualified person. They only need you to be one step ahead of where they are. And you can be transparent about it. Imposter syndrome is not what you think it is. It's really just a mechanism that keeps your quality control. You want to perform at a high level. So therefore, you make sure that you want to hold to that standard, those very high standards that you may have for yourself, which is nothing wrong with. The misconception about imposter syndrome is that people that have imposter syndrome, they actually want to show up and be right. They want to show up and have evidence and not be looked at as a fraud. The people that are posting confidently, that maybe have learned something yesterday, they just simply don't care, which is why they're a lot further ahead than people that have this imposter syndrome. So this is what we're going to do. Let me share this framework with you. Let's call it the Authentic Authority Framework. 3 shifts that turn the self-doubt into your competitive advantage. In the first shift, we're going to go from I need to know everything to I know something valuable. You don't need to be the world leading expert in a topic. You just need to share something that you would have wanted to know 6 months ago and talk to that person, talk to that version of yourself. Here's an example. Let's say that you learned something about time management or productivity 2 months ago. It actually started to save you 2 hours a week on all of the work that you were doing. You may think that everybody already knows this. Oh, who doesn't know this? Everybody knows how to do this. Everybody knows this strategy. Everybody knows this tactic. I just learned it. That's where you're wrong. That very technique could save someone's life, their job, and their productivity. But they'll never understand or know it if you don't share that information. So share the information that you learned that saved you 2 hours of productivity. That's shift number 1. Now, shift number 2, we need to go from what will people think to who will this help? We're only focusing on the positive, not all of the negative things that people could say or would say. Who cares? Let's focus on who will this help. That's more important. When you focus on serving your audience rather than protecting your ego, it makes it so much more important to give information to other people rather than focusing on us as people that are called to share information. We're not focused on performing for judgment. We're only focusing on providing value and helping people and solving problems. To be honest, when I first started talking about mental wellness and mindset and entrepreneurship, I was terrified. I literally used to grab my phone, and before I posted a video, I'll be shaking every single time. I would think, how could I talk about entrepreneurship and making money in a business when I'm still figuring it out myself? How could I talk about executive presence and building a business online or anything that I was talking about at that time? How could I talk about this when sometimes I'm still figuring some of these things out on my own? But then I started getting messages from people on YouTube and on Instagram and anywhere else that I would share that, bro, thank you for this. It's very inspiring. It helped me out in my life. And that is what I was focused on. I started to focus on those people that I was speaking to. And that's when I started to realize that it was never about me. So that is the second shift. The third shift, we need to shift from I might be wrong to I'll learn in public. The most successful people online are the people who openly make mistakes. The ones that admit to being wrong. The ones that admit to learning from a mistake. And then you share the lesson, which makes it even more powerful. The number one thing that you can have is authenticity and being real with people that follow you and support you. The more you try to act like somebody that you're not, or and be somebody that you know that you aren't, then your audience will not connect with you. So you need to be as real and authentic as possible so they connect. Now, this part is huge because it takes away from this pressure that we need to be 100% perfect all the time, that we have to get everything right, and that we're humans just like everybody else that's watching our videos and watching our content. So those are the 3 steps, but let's make it practical. Let's talk about how you can start to implement on this today. Step 1, I want you to start with what you wish that you knew. Think back to about 6 months to 2 years ago. What's one thing that you wish you would have known that could have saved you time, money, or even effort? And talk about that. Whatever it is that you know that you wish you could have known, then talk about it and be confident about it. That is going to be your content. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be in a role or position that you're in. It can be some entrepreneurship ventures. Anything that you know, anything that you wish you would have known, that is your content, and start there. You don't need any fancy edits. You don't need any fancy tools. Just start with that. Also, you need to make sure that you are leading with vulnerability. Share the story, share the insight, share what you learned throughout this process and why it was important for you to go through that process, and talk about the wins, the losses. Be honest and be authentic with people, because that's what people are going to resonate with the most. And also, just so you know that you don't have to be perfect, or you're not being a fraud, which is something that I was concerned with, you can always say, in my expertise, in my experience, because what that is going to do is it's going to take you away from, that's just you being real. That's going to take you away from saying that your way is the only way. It's going to make sure that people understand that that's what you experienced and what you went through. And an extra tip here, again, make sure that you share the struggle, not only the successes. People will connect with your story, the journey, and what you've been through, rather than only the highlight tape and the highlight reel. Now, when people start to comment and start to give you love, just engage with them like regular people. Just talk to them, have conversation. Make sure that they know that you're a real person, and just connect on a peer-to-peer level, not as if you're talking to them from a higher level. Just talk to them like one-on-one, like you're talking to a friend. So I want to make sure that I leave you all with an actionable plan that you can do leaving here today. This is going to be a very simple challenge that you can prove to yourself that you do have something valuable to talk about. So remember, write down things that you wish you would have known from 2 months ago to 6 months ago, maybe even a year. Regardless, something that you wish you would have known in the past, write that down somewhere. Pick one of those insights, make a video or post on LinkedIn or YouTube or wherever it is, post on a platform that you want to get your message out on. Day 3, show a draft to someone that you trust. So when you make the video or you write it down, show a draft to somebody. If you want to send it to me, if you want to show me, go ahead and click below. You can book a call and we can talk about it there. And you can ask, hey, is this helpful? Is this something that you wish you would know? How do you feel about this? And regardless of their answer, post it anyway, but it's good to just hear some feedback. But I do guarantee that they'll say yes, because you are much closer to your expertise than you think that you are. Next, I want you to post that content wherever you choose to post it, whatever platform. Go ahead and post it online and get it out there. Get that first post out of the way, or that next post out of the way, because that is the only way that you're going to gain confidence. That's the only way that I gained confidence, was by getting it out there, getting the message out there, and then getting more comfortable to continue to do that. And next, make sure that you respond to every single comment, talk back to people, and make sure that they feel and know that you are a person, that you're a peer, and that'll just start to have you build some of those connections. And here's what's going to happen after you follow that step. You're going to realize that imposter syndrome and all these thoughts that were in your mind was only an illusion. Once you continuously do this and you gain more traction and you gain more evidence and confidence, you're going to be wanting to post more and more often, and you're going to start seeing yourself differently rather than that imposter that was in your mind this whole time. So remember, for imposter syndrome, use this as fuel to start to build your brand, whether it's online or in person, and become the brand. Your self-doubt is only a reminder that you care about quality, and that's great. Your fear of being wrong only shows that you care about the stakes and you care about how you're perceived. So let's take action and make it happen today. Hit that like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm dropping strategies on how you can build confidence and increase your income, whether it's online or in person, by becoming the brand. And if you're feeling spicy, drop a comment. What's one insight you've been holding back from sharing? I read every single comment and I am genuinely curious. So I will see you in the next video. Make sure you accomplish these goals we talked about today, and I will see you soon. Peace.